Before we start today's theory, a small question for you guys. What was the first question that popped into your mind when you got into Touhou? And no, I'm not talking about the question where can I find hentai about this, no. For me, the first question was, what the fuck is happening? But we are not talking about that question. In this episode, we are talking about that second question that popped into our minds. One of the greatest mysteries in Touhou franchise, and now I'm not talking about how you can beat this game perfectly, no. The other mystery, one really debated topic that actually doesn't revolve around any specific character. The mystery I'm talking about is, where are all the males? I mean, have you seen any in the games besides Rinosuke? Because I sure as hell haven't. But don't worry, because this time it's not just speculation. This time I actually have some scientific proof backing up today's theory. So today I'm going to prove that the utopia of every single man in the world can actually exist. In some way at least. So let's start with the basics. We are talking about the Youkai here. We have seen that there are at least as many men in the human village as there are females. As you can see in the manga, there are many male characters pictured. But why we haven't seen too many male Youkai? Well, what if I told you that to find answer for that we just need some simple understanding of biology. I'm gonna split this video into three main parts, talking about Youkai races, Youkai that do not belong into any specific races, and fairies. So let's start with the Youkai races. When it comes to Youkai races, you may recall that there are quite many. The most notable ones being Oni, Tengu, Kappa, Bakaneko and Yamabiko. There are also a lot more, but I'm just lazy here and I'm focusing to those big Youkai communities. So first of all, we have to remember that male Youkai do exist. For example, we have Tenma, who is leader of the Tengu. But where are the rest? Well, let's look for the answer from the nature. Not many familiar creatures match this setting, so we have to find something else. Like sea creatures. For example, many fish races. The females are usually the more important ones. They do the reproducing and are usually more powerful than males. This may come out of nowhere, but maybe these Youkai societies only exist because they have to. What if male Tengu, Oni and Kappa are just too weak to survive on their own and they need protection from their society to survive? And that needs to happen to allow reproduction. And that includes Tenma too. Even if he is the leader of the Tengu, he might be actually quite weak. It is possible that male Youkai are actually as intelligent as females, which might explain why he is the leader of the Tengu, but when it comes to physical and magical strength, he might not be too powerful. This scenario most likely affects Oni and Kappa too. Males just staying safely in the villages of those Youkai. That would most likely explain why we won't be seeing any male Oni, Kappa or Tengu fighting against the main protagonist in the games. And that might be a reason why the races like Yamabiko and Bakaneko are rare. And Yamabiko has almost gone extinct, in fact. They don't have societies protecting their males. Also with the Yamabiko, the humans have started to not believe that they exist anymore, so that too is a problem. But then we move on to the Youkai that do not belong into any specific Youkai race, like Mailing and Orange. And at this point, if somebody is still claiming that Zun just doesn't want to make any male characters and there just aren't any male Youkai, then tell me, where did Rinosuke come from? He is a half Youkai, not half Tengu, Oni, Kappa or whatever. His Youkai half's specific race is never told, which highly indicates that either his mother or father was this kind of raceless Youkai like Mei Ling. And that means that this Youkai type also has males. But this one is a bit trickier. because these Youkai are known to be born from humans' fears and beliefs. They don't have societies, they just exist because they have a purpose in life. But yet again, there's a simple scientific method to prove why this is the way it is. It is called the natural selection. Think about it. Once, let's say, the Youkai of darkness finally dies off, there's a 50-50 chance that the world will spawn either a male or female Youkai to replace it. If it is a female Youkai, which is the stronger option, it'll most likely live quite long and be quite strong. But if it's a male, then it'll most likely be too weak to survive too long, and nature will spawn a new one to replace it much quicker. Which explains why there once again is more female Youkai than male Youkai. Female Youkai just simply survive longer and aren't replaced as often as male Youkai. And yes, I think that there always is a 50-50 chance for the new Youkai to be a male or female. If it wasn't, then how could humans and Youkai reproduce together if their biology don't allow males to be born? If that was the case, I don't think Rinosuke could even exist. And when it comes to Rinosuke, I think he most likely had a Youkai father than a mother, because to think of it, if Youkai females are more powerful and violent, it is most likely that the more passive male would reproduce with human. Think it like a dog and a wolf. Even if rare, they can reproduce together, which usually produces a half-breed. Youkai and human producing it together. Wouldn't that count as bestiality? Oh, pardon, I slipped a bit off from the topic. But now, the last and the most tricky part of this theory, the fairies. The thing with fairies is pretty strange, because to think of it, we slaughter thousands upon thousands of fairies while playing this franchise, so isn't it a bit odd that we haven't seen even a single male fairy? Or should I ask, is there even such thing as a male fairy? And at this point, the answer might just be no. There is not male fairies, nor are there any female ones too. Have you noticed how every single fairy in this game looks very young? I actually might have a perfect explanation for all of this. The thing is that I believe that all of these fairies are completely genderless. And please, if there's even one of those Tumblr feminist land whales coming to comment to this video, please get the fuck out of here. This is pure biology, not your shitty sexual moralism. Okay, now when that's out of the way, we shall continue. The thing I'm after is that all of these fairies lack genitalia. And why is this? Because fairies are not meant to reproduce in any way. Fairies are technically immortal. Even if you kill it, it'll just respawn after a while. And when fairy finally dies permanently, the nature will just spawn a new one to replace it. But why do they still look like girls? Well, that's simply because if you didn't have your genitalia, you would look like a female. And another cool fact is that it actually is natural for them to look like girls. Because even if you, the one watching this video, are male, you haven't always been like that. Because before you were born, when you were just an embryo, you were a girl. Every human ever to be existed has been a girl at some point. For us males, we just change before we are born. So that's kinda easy explanation why those fairies look like females. If you completely lack genitalia, you would most likely look like a girl. And that's also the reason why all the fairies look so young. Because without the hormones, they will never reach their puberty, and because of immortality, they will look as childish as ever. Gosh, this feels strange to talk about how fictional character can't reach its puberty, but to be honest, I've done much more stranger things, so this should be fine. I'm not completely sure how the nature works with fairies, but I'd assume that it's still somewhat same as with the humans. So there you have it, a bit more off-topic theory this time, and maybe a bit funnier, but it can't be helped. This was just waiting for itself to happen, so better just do it now. And just like I said, this theory is the first I've made that has actually scientific proof backing it up. So yeah, we got that one too. But anyhow, I hope that you found this theory to your liking and that I didn't completely ruin your fanon shipping between the characters of this franchise. But now when I mention shipping, it would be good to say that hentai would be that way. You won't find any from here. But enough with this nonsense. Oh, fun fact. I'm prolonging this ending speech on purpose because I want this script to be over 2 pages long, but it hardly seems that I'll be able to reach that limit. But anyhow, this has been my theory about what I believe is the case behind the lack of males in this franchise. So please keep in mind that this isn't canon and this is just a theory. But who knows, maybe this will actually turn out to be true. And like always, if you have any theory ideas, please leave them into the comments below, I'd be happy to read them. But for now, I have to bid you a farewell. My name is Touhou, and we'll see in the next video.